I'm giving myself a point for being like Sheldon because I've actually had people yell at me. I am uncomfortable. Not
Well,
no.
Ryan, you make me uncomfortable all the time, but I just deal with it.
That's because I forced you into a podcast, Rob.
And I'm getting your pheromones through the screen.
Yeah.
And it does not vibe with me. Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required.
We're the podcast that recaps all the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot.
Make yourself a grasshopper
And enjoy the ride. Hello there, Ryan.
Hello, Rob.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Fantastic, because we just watched the Vegas Renormalization.
Oh, yeah.
For any new listeners out there, I'm Rob, this is my co-host Ryan, and we are Theoretical Nonsense, the podcast that recaps, reviews, and deep dives facts from the Big Bang Theory, which we call IQ points. I've seen the series multiple times, but this is Ryan's first time watching, so we do our best to do no spoilers. And Ryan has been told that he's been very similar to Sheldon, so we keep a point tally of how close he is to being like Sheldon. How are we doing?
Let's see. I gotta open up the file really quickly. We are 64 points, me not like Sheldon, and 66 me being like Sheldon.
Neck and neck, but you are a Shelley.
So far, I was last season too. So
Yeah. Well, a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into the episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Theoretical Nonsense Pod. We love emails. Email us at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. Tell us how much you love us or just anything else.
just what's going on in your day. Tell us about life.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind hearing about that.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
Good things.
And also give us a 5-star review. And not only will we give you a shout out, but you can be entered into a raffle for a $100 Amazon gift card. If you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, you will be entered in to win $100 to Amazon. But you have to write something. So it's not just a normal 5-star review. You have to actually write something in the comments area and email us what your screen name is, just so we could track down who you are.
And figure out who to give the money to.
We don't, like we said, we don't want a Spartacus situation on our hand once we announce the winner. And the winner will be announced on December 3rd when we release our season 2 God, I said update again. Our season 2 recap. where Ryan and I will be recapping season 2, our favorite episodes, worst episodes, runner-up episodes, favorite guest actor, and such. So that's actually a great opportunity for anybody that wants to email us. What's your favorite episode of season 2? Who was your favorite guest actor? Best moment, worst moment? Look through our IQ points. What was your favorite IQ point? What did you find fascinating? What did you like? What did you learn? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Just let us know.
What did you forget? How did this hurt your intelligence?
Yeah, exactly. I should have known that. And then we got a new email from Tim. Did you see that?
I think I did.
From Tim of House Wren. Tim writes to us again. He says, "Hi, Rob and Ryan. Hope you are both doing well. I'm still very much enjoying listening to the pod. Keep up the good work. I was wondering, and no worries if not, whether I can be entered into the 5-star drawing. I'm in the UK and don't think you can see the same reviews. There only appears to be 2 on Apple, so I'm guessing the ones you see are for America. I've attached a screenshot of mine. Like I said, no worries if not. Rob, thought I'd just say I feel your pain. Some of the kids' TV shows are torture. The only thing I'd say is just be thankful that Baby Shark isn't still a massive thing. It's still going to stay deeply embedded in my mind for the rest of my days. Ryan, if you don't want to wear a tie, come to the UK and be a barrister. You can just wear a gown and a wig instead. Stay well, Tim."
I think I could pull that off.
You probably could. Well, Tim, I emailed you back. You are entered in to win, and you're right. It must be only be the American reviews that we see.
I think we're gonna have to like hook up a VPN and take a look at the reviews in other countries, because I didn't realize that they were
Oh no,
different
that might
like
hurt
that.
me. We're sitting pretty at like 4.9,
Right?
so it's like
Going over like what?
we go to Brazil and we're at like 2. Like no.
Japan 1. It's like, well.
Japan demands that we commit harakiri. Like, oh God, what have we done?
They're making us dumber.
You Americans.
IQ points. We'll give you IQ points.
Well, Tim, I was going to say Baby Shark is not a huge thing right now, but it's definitely popping up in all of my YouTube feeds. So I'm definitely well aware of Baby Shark. That's all we had for emails. No new reviews either. So, moving on. Don't forget to check out our brisket video. It's fall. It's October right now, so it's the perfect time to make brisket. And I will say to anybody who hasn't tried it yet or hasn't tried to make this, follow the recipe to the T. Because I actually just made this again last week, and I kind of went a little off-road, and it definitely was not as good as the first time that we had it.
He texted me like the day it happened, and he's like, "I'm so sad."
Okay, it wasn't horrible. I cooked it an extra hour longer, just to kind of I was trying to get it ever so slightly more tender than what we did before, but not like fall apart pulled pork style. But that's kind of what it turned out to be. It was still good. I still ate the shit out of it.
Well, yeah.
But it was so much better when we just did it the 4.5 hours. So do it 4.5 hours.
I tell you about the time we have a friend who made a brisket for a party, and what was it? He didn't realize the thermometer was in Celsius. And
you mentioned this,
yeah. And yeah, that's the only time I think I've not eaten a brisket. I couldn't eat it. It was a hockey puck. It was chewy.
Oh man. Well, check out the video. Special thanks to Rebecca and her great grandmother. Thanks you again. Amazing recipe. Like I said, it's fall, so it's a perfect time for a brisket.
And it comes up in this episode too. So
yeah,
like even watching this episode, I'm like, hell yeah, we made that. We made a brisket.
And another special shout out to Michelle, who's emailed us and wrote us a review before. She sent me a DM on Instagram. Well, she didn't DM me. She commented on the post that I did for the brisket, letting me know that I was very poorly timed when I posted it. Apparently, I posted it on the eve of Yom Kippur.
Oh no!
Which means that they are supposed to be fasting. Or maybe that was planned just to entice you, to get you through your fast. Like, this is what I get to eat. You get to live vicariously while you're fasting.
Kind of what like Fat Tuesday's all about, Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Like you do all the drinking, swearing, and eating of chocolate right before Lent, and then you give it all up.
Get it out of your system.
Out of your system. It's like, man, that was such a hard night. I don't need it for 40 more days.
Well, thanks, Michelle. We'll be more mindful on our posts. And one last update. I have a slight update on The Neighbor.
Oh, neighbor
so
time.
If you're new to the podcast, we kind of combine this with a little bit of true crime. It's a true crime incident that happened in my life. It happened to my next door neighbor. So I'm in the clear, but they're not so much. So if you want to, like I said, if you like true crime and you're new to the podcast, check out episode 22, our episode 22, which was season 2, episode 4, the Griffin equivalency. The first 30 minutes is dedicated to a crazy event that happened, and we've been trying to follow it, but the American judicial system runs very slow, so still a lot that hasn't happened.
Bureaucracy.
But basically, there was a file for a continuance. That's pretty much the update. So there was supposed to be, she was supposed to be in court on September 20th, like around that time. But then there was a motion to like continue it, which I had to like look that up because I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a PhD. I don't have anything. I'm just a dumb. So I was trying to Google like what a motion for continuance is, and it was like it was oddly hard to find the definition. It was kind of funny and frustrating at the same time because I was Googling like define motion of continuance, and I got so many like hits on how to file it, but not what it was. So I was like, what is it?
Why would I want to file it? I think I might want to now that I've seen all these ads, but what does it all mean?
Well, for any non-lawyers out there, a motion of continuance is a motion that one party files to postpone or delay a hearing. And it could be for a number of reasons. The court date might just not work for one of the parties, or one party is trying to find more evidence and gather more information and everything like that. So it could be a number of things, but that's what happened. So at this point, they filed it and they're waiting for a response. And seeing how it's past 9:20 right now, I'm guessing they accepted it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't posted on like the records yet. So I honestly don't know.
Maybe it was just lost somewhere in the great justice system.
Our wonderful justice system.
It's like reminds me of Futurama, the guy who's all into bureaucracy. He's like the manager of the company. And there's like episodes where he goes into like the government and there's like filing systems just flying all over. And he's like the Jamaican guy who limbos all the time.
Oh yeah.
But his favorite thing is like paperwork. He's like, yay.
Gross. Well, that's all I had for updates. Anything else to add?
I think that's all I've got.
This is Season 2, Episode 21, The Vegas Renormalization. Aired April 27th, 2009. Written by Chuck Lorre, Bill Prady, and teleplay by Stephen Molaro. Directed, as always, by Mark Sandrowski. Opening scene, the guys are playing 20 questions. And it's someone in the Star Wars universe. And Raj gets the answer when asked if the droid is a shiny Sheldon. And it's C-3PO.
CP3O. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
C-3PO.
I have that backwards. I don't know. That's my dyslexia kicking in.
Wait.
CP3O, C3PO.
Okay. It's the shiny Sheldon.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's a shiny Sheldon.
And Sheldon is very flattered, but he just doesn't see it. Well, then Howard gets a phone call from Leslie, and he's very high and mighty with the call. And he's like, oh, for a booty call, please press 1. And Sheldon gets very confused over the concept of friends with benefits. And then they kind of go back and forth about like what friends with benefits means. And then it's Sheldon's turn. And no point because the answer is Spock.
Right away. Are you Spock?
Yep. And yep, we all know that Sheldon loves Spock.
That's why he created a rock, paper, scissors with it.
Well, I don't think he didn't create it.
Oh, I thought he did. Who created rock, paper, scissors?
It was a couple people from a college like years ago. We did the IQ point, bro.
Oh man. I can only keep so many IQ points in my head. They start falling out.
It gets a little confusing after a while. Like, what did we talk about? Well, Howard comes back and he's gonna hang out with them rather than hit his booty call. And then he just breaks down crying because she dumped him. Mama's moved on.
I love that quote. All she said was, Mama's a Rolling Stone.
Yep. Well, classic Sheldon does not understand social cues. So he's just like, crap, we're never going to get this. It's someone from Babylon 5.
Which I don't know if I get that joke. I thought it was funny, but I haven't seen Babylon 5, so I can't really make the connection.
I
Or
haven't seen it either, but I have a feeling that it was just, if this is a deep cut, let us know. Someone let us know. But
yeah,
I just took it as him not understanding like social cues. Like he's acting it out right now, and but then
it's got
again,
to
I
be
guess it could be
something
from
that he doesn't know about, or yeah.
yeah.
Which, by the way, it reminds me, Battlestar Galactica. I think I mentioned that I have the complete Blu-ray set, or my dad does, and I was looking at it the other day. I realized it has a action figure on top. So
Is it a Cylon?
I think so. For one of these shows, I'm going to bring it down and like have it march across our YouTube video or something.
Nice, yeah. Howard explains that he got the call from Leslie. She's moved on, and Sheldon is just trying to understand the whole friends with benefits and being non-emotional. And then Howard just wants to shut down and do nothing. He has no interest in doing anything anymore. But then Sheldon chimes in that there's a place in the world for such an occasion, a place where you can replace your problems with new problems, such as alcoholism, gambling, addiction, and STDs. Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby. Was that Sheldon saying Vegas, baby? I actually
Yep.
have a point on both sides here. The first one is when Howard says, well, actually, it starts off with Sheldon saying, I don't understand why he's upset. They were in a non committed relationship. And Linda mentions, well, it's clear he had feelings for Leslie. And Howard's response is, of course I had feelings for her. I saw her naked, for Christ's sakes. And yeah, I can understand that. Seeing a girl naked, that gives me some feelings. And yeah, it kind of makes things serious. I'm not one to be able to do friends with benefits. So yeah, I saw her naked, for Christ's sakes. That hit close to home. Says he saw Leslie naked and therefore has feelings for her. Now, on the flip side, Sheldon brings up the city of Nevada, but he doesn't quite understand, or city of Nevada, that's not right. The city of Vegas. I don't really like Vegas. I don't really get it. I don't get the draw. I don't understand Vegas. I don't get it. I mean, it's not that exciting to me. Like, I don't really like gambling. Strippers kind of scare me. The
I
shooting of
think
guns was kind of fun, but kind of scary as well. It's all
Vegas is a young man's game. I've been saying that a
yeah.
lot lately. I've just been pinpointing something and saying that's a young man's
That's
game
a
because we're old now, and
That's
the
true.
the thought of doing anything social and anything like that is like, ugh.
And
I'm a Sheldon at this point. I have no interest in going.
most of the time I went there too was when I was like under 18, and going to Vegas when you're under 18, like under 21, uh,
Sucks.
it sucks. I'm guessing if you're,
Actually, no, it's pretty awesome because of the clackers.
the clackers. Oh yeah,
The guys on the street.
yeah. Like wow.
When we were 18, that was before free porn. So
Yeah,
the
right.
clickers are handing out those cards and everything like that. You're just like, oh my god, boobies.
And I made an emotional relationship with each one I saw naked.
Each one.
Yeah. So I saw Vegas. I ran away from the cops a lot. I feel like being a boy.
Wait, you ran away from the cops in Vegas?
Oh yeah. In Vegas, like well, at least at the time, it was something like girls who were 13 years old and older, like didn't have curfews or something, but boys had to be 18 or older to be on the strip like past 10 o'clock or something. And
Really?
yeah, it was something weird. And the reason for girls, or at least when the cops called my parents, the cops said something about they have Girl Scout experience, or not Girl Scout, babysitting experience. So they are safer on the streets of Vegas. I'm like, that is some really
This must have been a really long time ago.
late 90s.
Oh.
And
Yeah, my first time going to Vegas was like early 2000s. Like 2003-ish, 2002. somewhere around then. Yeah.
It's
Actually, no, it was a little later because I was 18 and my brother was 20. Yeah. So now everyone knows our age.
So I'm guessing the cops weren't chasing you down if you were 18.
Yeah.
But I remember one time I stopped and asked a cop because I was hungry. I was with a friend, and I'm like, I don't know, it was like midnight, 1 a.m. I'm like, hey, do you know if there's a place to get ice cream around here? And the cop's like, no, the ice cream places are closed. How old are you? I go, gotta go.
Just smile like, gotta go.
Gotta go. Thanks, gotta go.
So, gotta find some ice cream. Bye.
Bye. So, yeah, 1 point for not understanding Vegas, but 1 point because Howard had emotions for seeing a girl naked.
Yeah. Well, now they have a conversation about this, and it's like, well, why not? Why don't we just go to Vegas? People be spontaneous all the time. Let's just go. And it's like, okay, I say Vegas, baby. And then Raj is like, what are you going to tell your mom? SeaWorld, baby.
SeaWorld, baby.
I love that. And then they all just leave, and Sheldon has no interest in going. All right, so now we're in the lobby, and Sheldon runs into Penny, and he's oddly pleasant, and she thinks that he's drunk. Nope, he's just in a good mood because his friends are all out of town, so he has the apartment to himself. And I would be stoked too. Sheldon calls it his Fortress of Solitude, and Penny understands enough to know that it's Superman's ice thingy.
I love that.
That's
Superman's ice, which, it says something because she's heard enough that she's retaining the information, because I think at the start of the series she would have no idea what that means.
Oh, no.
But she's like, oh, I'm picking up, and I was proud of her for even Superman's ice thingy.
And it's a great setup for the punchline at the end of the scene.
Yeah.
But I keep saying Howard, I don't know. But Sheldon is in a great mood, and she notices a wonderful smell, and he says that it's the intoxicating aroma of Kadai Paneer, a perfect culinary representation of the freedom this evening holds. Not only is it Indian cuisine, which Kuthar Pali loathes, it contains a generous helping of peanuts, which would reduce Wallowitz into a wheezy 97-pound blister. And finally, its main ingredient is paneer, a farmer's cheese, which would cause Leonard to render any room uninhabitable within minutes. And to mark the occasion, I actually had this for dinner.
That's I put a note saying IQ 0.1. Let Rob handle this. LOL. So this is all yours.
So I didn't do a full-on IQ point, so I won't give this an IQ point, but I just saw this and I was like, you know what? I wonder if... So one of my favorite restaurants is actually only like a half a mile away from where I live, and it's an Indian place. It is fantastic. Like, it's probably some of the best Indian food that I've ever had. And like, coming from Seattle actually has great Indian food. Mm-hmm. But like where I'm at, who would have thought? But there's actually a huge Indian population where I'm at. So this place has just been like incredible. Wow. Every time I go there, it's been like more and more amazing. I've eaten there, I've DoorDashed, I've like picked it up and taken it home. It's so amazing. Like, I love Indian food.
They have to kick you out at night and say, get out of here, Rob.
You got to go. Stop eating my tandoori and go. But I've never had this dish. I've had paneer before, but I've never specifically had Kadai Paneer. So I kind of looked into it, and well, I guess it is kind of a half IQ point. I didn't write any of this down, so I'll have to go off memory. But I looked into it, but Kadai is actually a spice blend it's a specific spice blend called Kadai. So just like how there's like garam masala, there's like tikka masala and stuff like that. They have like a specific ratio of spices and everything like that. So Kadai just has that specific blend. Paneer is a cheese that is very like tofu-like. So if you had it without knowing that it's cheese, it kind of does have a very similar taste to tofu. Have you ever had paneer before?
I don't recall, but I'm thinking something like buffalo mozzarella that has like very light cheese taste, and I know what you mean, that it can kind of take on that uh, texture of tofu.
It's kind of like a firm tofu, but it's almost like a little smoother.
Yeah.
It's oddly smoother than tofu. Like it's
Interesting.
really good. I've
I'm
had
gonna
it
try it
fried
now.
before. I've had it like in this. The one that I got today was more of like simmered in the sauce, so it's
Uh-huh.
kind of like soft and kind of silky, but kind of firm at the same time.
Oh.
Did not have peanuts though.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because like their descriptions aren't very good and they don't really have a lot of pictures. I just kind of had to go off like it's this is the name, you can order it.
Yeah.
So I just got it. It was so good. I will gladly order that again.
You'll even though
I
you
was a
haven't
li-
had it before, it's going to be in your
yeah,
menu now.
yeah,
Like, okay,
yeah. I
that's
was a
nice.
little shocked that Sheldon would even order a vegetarian dish, but because
Yeah.
coming from Texas, you'd think that he'd be like all about like having some sort of meat in any dish. But at the same time, he kind of explained it that. But then again, it doesn't really make that much sense because if they ordered Indian food, they would order their own dish. So Leonard wouldn't. He doesn't get the runs just by smelling it.
Or does he?
Maybe he
Man,
is
Leonard.
pretty lactose.
I'm. Is it?
I can understand the peanut side. Like if like just being within vicinity, Howard could like have a reaction.
And him saying Raj loves Indian food means that they don't.
They never get it.
Yeah. But was it like a single serving or like family size portions?
It based. I paused and looked at his portion, and it looked like just a single serving.
Yeah. What was it when you got it?
Single.
Single? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking like,
Christina got the butter chicken. She always gets the butter chicken, and then we also got a side of tandoori chicken. So we just shared it all.
see, that's the thing, is that I'm thinking American Chinese food, that it might be like a single serving, but it's really something that you share with everybody, right?
It's definitely, I would say, Indian food is very shareable. Like you should
Yeah.
definitely share it because you want to try all the different things. And like,
Yeah,
you grab a scoop of rice, you grab a little bit of that curry, you go a little this one, you grab some naan. Yeah.
Or you just order the naan and that's all you get for dinner. Sad.
Sad.
I mean, I could make it work, but
Yeah.
it's sad.
So
Can't we
sad.
share? No, Rob, you got the naan. You eat the naan.
But I need some sauce.
Use your spit.
Well, I kind of thought about that too. That like since Raj hates Indian food, which is so funny, it's because
Right.
he probably grew up having it all the time. So it's like, why
Yeah.
would I want this? I want some more American delicacies.
I grew up hating steak and potatoes because we had them so much in Kansas. And, I didn't have them for the majority of my college years. And I'm kind of growing back into it. Also, if you hear this, Dad, you're a great cook, but you overdid the cooking on the steaks. I've learned how to make them more like a medium rare. And
What kind of cut did you grow up with?
um,
I feel like we didn't have like we had a pretty good cut, but like not a great cut growing up because it's like when you're kids, you don't really appreciate it, so you don't want to break the bank on your kids. So we grew up always having sirloin.
I think we did some. I think we did a lot of sirloins. I think we did some T-bones because I remember him cooking those on the charcoal grill, and he won't even touch charcoal grills now. So that's one thing that says something, that he never really got the hang of or he hates it, so he didn't care about it. But
Yeah, he tried to make it work when you were a kid.
yeah, he's like, this isn't working. But he only does gas.
It's a rite of passage for fatherhood. You
Yeah.
have to get the charcoal grill because when we were growing up, gas grills were just becoming more mainstream.
Yeah, they weren't as common,
No,
right?
so I remember like as a really early child, always charcoal, and then once I got to like high school, that's when like we got a gas grill.
Yeah, high school. I remember first lighting a gas grill with my mom, like the first time I've ever used one, and letting the gas like dissipate in like a big flame cloud. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's gas, and if you let it out, it's gonna explode. So,
Yep.
It singed my eyebrows a little bit, but no worse for wear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stand by charcoal though. I have a big green egg, and I love it. In fact, I was gonna have a party, and my partner's like, just take your big green egg with you. I'm like, have you seen how heavy that is? That doesn't move. That thing. And she's like, oh yeah, I guess it is ceramic. I'm like, yeah.
Well, that's what I had on Kadai Paneer.
I'm gonna round that up to a full IQ point.
Chalk that up. Ding. Ding. Well, what a treat. And laugh out loud moment. He says to Penny, I realize that you're also alone tonight. So at some point you find yourself with nothing to do. Please do not disturb me.
I thought that was funny. I almost give myself a point for not being like that though, because I didn't do it. I'm always encouraging people to come over, and if I'm by myself, I look forward to like those times by myself, and I'm gonna have fun. But like if I have one-on-one time with somebody else, I look forward to it. But I thought it was funny of him making a point to say, "Don't disturb me."
I feel like I'm a Sheldon at this point. Like if I build up expectations, like if I'm going to go out and pick up this meal that I really want, for me to 100% enjoy it, I have to have perfect conditions. So if I'm expecting to be alone, I want to be alone. Like if anyone knocks on the door, I will be pissed.
I can, and he gets into that where she's like, later on, you can eat your stuff in my apartment, and that would bother me.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to watch my favorite TV show and enjoy this meal. Not talking, not having like to use brain capacity.
Yeah. I wanted to be in my spot watching my show with my meal.
Yeah. I remember I used to be like that as a single man with a Costco chicken. I used to go to town on Costco chickens and no one, like turn off my phone, shut the computer down, turn on the TV, grab myself a beer, dive into a whole chicken and enjoy the beer, enjoy my TV show.
And those chickens are so good and so cheap. Like, you can't beat them.
Nope, they're still good. I still get them every once in a while. Except I will say the area that I'm at, it is inferior to the Seattle ones.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. It's like, they're good. I'll still eat it, but I do remember that the ones in Seattle were so much better.
These Seattle chickens, like I went back to Pennsylvania a couple of years ago and had Boston Market, Boston chicken, and like that's their thing is they make rotisserie chickens, and I was disappointed compared to the Costco chickens. Costco chickens are like $5 a piece. Oh man.
Well, like I read an article that the Costco chicken is not there to make money. It's to lure people in.
It's like the hot dogs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and all their food court stuff, they lose money. Like they actually are just there to like bring people in, and it makes sense because it's like, well, if I'm going to pick up a pizza, I'm going to go shopping.
Did I ever tell you about the time I went in to get a Costco chicken, and I think I was getting one for me and one for my dad and our dogs because he gives chicken as treats, and I was waiting in line for them to pull some off the plank. And there was a guy in front of me. They like pulled it off the plank and put 6 out. He got all 6 of them. And just picked them all up and put them in his car. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with those chickens, dude? It's only like, what, $30-$40, but that's a lot of chicken. And then I had to sit around for another like 10-20 minutes while they got them off the next pike.
Like, motherfucker. Damn. I will say I do that pretty often. Every time I know I'm going to get a chicken, I camp. I just camp out there and wait. And it's funny because I see the funniest thing is that my internal monologue as I watch other people, like I see them like pulling them out and like putting them in the container. And I see people being impatient and just grabbing it off like the warmer. It's like, dude, there's fresh ones like right there. If you wait like 2 minutes, you're going to get a fresh one. idiot.
It reminds me of Seinfeld when they're with the soup Nazi, and one of them's like, "We're living in a Nazi regime," because everybody's like lined up for the soup, and they're all getting little things of soup. But when they're taking the chickens off at Costco, I feel like I'm in military camp, and we are all fighting for the rations.
Yeah,
And
you want to fight for the good one.
it's weird. It's a weird concept, but you're right, and you can taste the difference. Oh man,
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be. They're all good. But the fresh ones are.
The fresh ones, you just grab it and sprint home.
Just run, because they will take it
in.
from you. They will fight. They will bite.
Yep.
To get their chicken.
All right. Well, back to Big Bang Theory. Well, Sheldon is very excited. He's humming Superman, I think.
Oh.
And then he's looking for his keys. And then, oh no, he forgot his keys. And then Penny comes out. Oh, what's wrong, Superman? Locked out of your big ice thingy? Love it.
Yeah.
And now we cut over to the boys where they are in Vegas. You see Raj and Leonard, they're getting ready. And Raj is oddly impressed with shampoo and conditioner in one.
Doesn't he say mouthwash too? He's like shampoo, conditioner, and mouthwash.
Wait, did he? I thought that was something separate.
I watched it like 3 times, and I could be wrong, but I picked up that he was saying it was all the same thing.
All right, hold on. I gotta check out the
check it out. And while you're looking that up, I'm gonna say that I get a point for being like Howard, because I am big on colognes, and I probably have a collection that could mate or match or exceed his collection of colognes.
Well, I have an IQ point on that.
I have one too. I'm curious what you came up with.
He says, look at this. Mouthwash, lotion, body wash, shampoo, and conditioner together in one tiny bottle. What the fuck? Okay, I would try that, though. Right? I would try it just to see.
I would have to try it. And I'm pretty sure like there was a line of bottles, and probably one of them was mouthwash. But the way he says it, it's all in one bottle.
I know. That's what I kind of took it as, too, is that they're all separate. But like the way... Grammarly, it actually indicates that it's all into one bottle.
It's like shampooing and chug a little bit of it.
Well, Leonard needs to borrow some aftershave, and they go through Howard's inventory, and there's a lot of cologne. And he has on the first row, it's musks. Second row is wood, leathers, and botanicals, and the third is assorted pheromones. Tread lightly. All right, so this goes into the IQ point of cologne. Did you want to take this one? Oh, no, I'm interested.
Yeah, I'll start off with this, and I want to say too that let me look this up. There's a movie that if anybody's really interested in like horror movies and good movies, I guess, but movies
a good horror movie.
Yeah, I know, it's insane, right? It's called,
I'm sure they're out there.
Perfume, the story of a murderer, and it's starring Ben Winshaw, Alan Rickman, Dustin Hoffman, Rachel Hurd Wood, and Caroline Herford. And I believe that's the people I know, but still with Dustin Hoffman and Alan Rickman's characters, their performances were great.
You had me at Alan Rickman.
Right. But it's about a boy born in Paris and has an excellent nose on him. And it's so excellent that he can refine humans into perfumes. And that's why he starts murdering. But it explains a lot of this and got me into the notion of making colognes and perfumes. But for this IQ point, I went with a website called feelingsexy.com because it sums things up really, really well. The notion of a cologne or a perfume is that there should be 3, well, it's kind of like a song, it's music. A top note, a middle note, and a bass note. And the top note is like the fresh, sharp, clean smells that evaporate quickly, but they also hit you very quickly. And these are usually like the citrusy fruits and the herbals that are just really there and then kind of gone, ephemeral, I guess. But I usually think of them as citrus because the citrus gets used a lot. The middle notes, on the other hand, are the ones that get left over and kind of dominate the scent after those scents, the sharp top notes go away, and they stay quite a while. And they're the ones that usually get identified with the cologne or the fragrance. Um, these are usually floral and full bodied. The examples were lavender, rose, geranium, neroli. Um, then base notes are the ones that last over time, and it was claiming that there's some sort of molecular structure on why this happens, some science stuff that I didn't go into, but these are the ones that, like, if you spray it on your clothes, you will smell them for a couple days. They are there. They have been there the whole time underneath the top and mid notes, balancing things out, and they will continue to be there. And these are the deep aromas. These are like vanilla, patchouli, woodly notes. Musk and leather also fall into this. I believe like tobacco would fall into this. Um, and so I also did a little bit on pheromones, but I'm going to get to that. I was going to say that I didn't understand his organization system because I would probably organize it on which ones had stronger top notes, which ones had more balanced mid notes, and which ones had stronger base notes. Ones that had that leather or woody scent overall would probably go in its own section. Things that smelt more orangey off the bat and stayed with you, or clean, cool scented, would probably be in a different section. But for him to say that the first row is musks and the second row is woods, leathers, and botanicals, that just kind of like lumps everything's together. And like a lot of things have musks in them. Yeah, I had a problem with this organization.
I thought about that too. I feel like, knowing Howard and knowing his character, I feel like he just read an article in GQ
uh,
on how to pick it and what women want and everything like that. So I feel like he just went out and bought everything.
and then just and there's no right way to organize them. So if it works for him, wonderful. I have mine by bottle color and height. But
How
yeah,
many do you have? Can you count how many? I'm curious.
are we counting beard oils too? Because
Well, do
beard,
you? Well, let's just count sprays. Whatever
just
comes
just
in a
sprays.
spray bottle. Like
I'd
let's
probably
let's
say
just go with
15
that.
to 20.
Okay.
But beard oils and solid clones and facial, you know, moisturizers that have scents in them. We're looking at probably like 50 to 60, if not more. I like the choice.
Well, when you have a beard, you definitely need to keep it clean and everything like that. You
Yeah.
definitely you gotta. And
Well,
if you're gonna be smelling yourself,
yeah, it moisturizes it, makes it feel like silky smooth, and it gives you like that nice, so you don't have to put cologne on you. Part of the problem is that I'm very sensitive, so I will buy a bottle thinking I like it, and then I'll spray it, and I might have an allergic reaction to it, or it might give me a headache, and I'll like break out in hives and then feel sick all evening, and then I'll still like it, so I don't give it away, but I don't use it or don't use it as often. Although, why would I use something that makes me break out in hives? I
Hmm.
really like some scents. I make it work, Sometimes the pain's
Yeah.
worth it. So yeah, the last thing was pheromones, and pheromones are chemicals. Definition was chemicals, indicators that connect people and animals in forms of chemical communications. Uh, Basically, they are the chemicals in our brains or the smells we give off to make people feel a certain way, to make people attracted to certain people. Typically it's the notion of male pheromones attract females and female pheromones attract men, and vice versa will retract repel. So male pheromones often retract males, but again, gender is kind of confusing and doesn't work the same for everyone, which according to what I was seeing, I found a quote by Nick Massenbrook from um, Brooke Massenbrook's Perfume London. saying that there is some evidence that pheromone-based perfumes work, but other studies suggest that it's really based on the situation. And from what I was gathering, it's probably more based on if the person smelling you likes that fragrance at all, not the pheromones involved. But somebody hates orange and you have orange infused pheromones, they're not going to like that smell. But if they smell leather on you and that has pheromones, it's probably going to attract them. Was it the leather? Was it the pheromones? And it's situational. Who knows? So that's what I
Okay.
got for that IQ point.
Nice. I found very similar information, but I also have some information to kind of fill in some blanks as well. This IQ point for me started because when I saw how many colognes he had, I was like, why do you need so many? Because I do remember having a conversation with my wife long ago. She's actually in the beauty world.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught me that no matter what scent you have, no matter what you choose, it will react differently to your body and your
Yeah.
own pheromones. So just because, and this kind of goes into what you were saying with how there's like a top note and then there's like the middle and like the base and everything like that. When you spray it on you, the top note will be there, but once it kind of goes into you and goes into the like, that base note and everything like that, it's going to react differently to your pheromone. So it could smell completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that like I don't think how like when I watched this, I don't think Howard knew that, and that's why I was thinking, I think he just read a GQ article and thought I need to get a scent for the different occasions. It's summer, I should be wearing this. It's winter, I should be wearing this. I'm going to a party, I should be wearing this. Not even considering how it's going to react to his own pheromones. And I confirmed this because I found the GQ article.
I confirmed it because there was one.
There was an article that actually basically said all this. No mentions of chemical reaction, no mention of pheromones. So I was kind of like, come on, guys, you got to educate yourself on that. And that's why I thought this IQ point was pretty important, honestly, for anybody. Because vice versa, it works with perfumes with women too.
I've heard that and I couldn't find anything to document this. I'm curious if anybody listening finds anything, but if it's working well with your system, with your body, with your pheromones, it's supposed to taste sweet. And I've heard people actually say you're supposed to like spray it on you and then kind of lick it. It always tastes weird to me, but
like in your arm, I was like,
yeah,
how do I lick my own neck?
Do I smell pretty?
I'm pretty.
But I have had there's scents I like that I think they smell good, but they don't particularly go with me. But there are ones that like will continue to resonate in my olfactory as sweet, even if it's like more basy. There's some that are more citrusy that will do that too, and then there's some that just don't do it, or like I said, will give me a headache. So it's weird that it can work differently by the different person and smell differently from person to person.
Yeah, I am definitely a single cologne person. I actually only have 3 colognes in my repertoire. And that's because I don't even swap between them. I just got one that was my because I'm more into a signature scent.
Uh-huh.
So I had one. I had a friend help me pick one while I was single. And then that kind of worked for me for like a long time. And then I got another one when I met my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. She got me one. She got me Chanel Blue, which she loved and everything like that. I really liked it. It actually really worked well for me. But then on our last trip, I got a Dior Sauvage, which is pretty much my signature scent now. And it's funny. I actually have a story. I'll just dive into it now. Yeah. But it kind of actually no. I'll go into this after because it kind of goes into like the IQ points. So basically choosing a fragrance. So basically I wanted to kind of go into how to choose a fragrance because I don't think people should be doing what Howard did. Don't just start buying an assortment of things. Don't just buy musks because women are supposed to like musks and everything, and it's supposed to remind them of their dad. Like I said, it's going to react with you differently. So This is how you pick a cologne or a perfume, because perfume molecules react differently to skin. And that's because we're all built differently.
Mm-hmm.
It can be based on a number of things: your diet. For example, meat eaters smell differently than vegans, and they smell different from pescatarians. It could also be based on how naturally oily your skin is. Perfumes and colognes last longer on skin that is better moisturized. It can also vary depending on the pH level of your skin and your overall body temperature. So many variables in the equation. And I should note that I actually found this on multiple sites. How
Well,
stuff works: fragrance, affection, and that fashionizers. And if you want to be a little scientific about choosing your fragrance, you need to look at the product's alcohol and oil ratio. Those are the two most common ingredients in perfume and cologne. And to compare that to the dryness of your skin. Like I was saying, more if you're more moisturized, it'll last longer.
mm-hmm.
Some products might last longer on you or just straight up dissipate. Scents last longer and are more intense on you if you have oily skin, have a balanced pH level, and your body runs warm. But how are you supposed to know all this without some deep research on your own body?
Uh-huh.
If you want to be more logical about this, it just takes a little bit of time. Trial and error. So what you do, just get some samples and spray it on you. Pretty much smell that top note if you like it. Then wait like 15-20 minutes, because that's where the other notes are going to kind of set in. If you like the way it smells, then great. It might work out. Chances are it's going to work out for you. But if it doesn't, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, it started off citrus and now it kind of smells musky. That's weird. It's not reacting to you. So I would say be patient and just get a sample and test it out. Just spray it on you, wait the half an hour, smell it.
If you spray too much too, it's going to fry your smell system, and it's going to hurt the experiment too. So, just one spray and let it sit.
Yeah. But back to what you were saying, it could just be off personal preference of the person smelling it. It may not even matter what you choose, because if you're trying to attract someone, it could be based off what they like. This got mentioned into a previous episode when we met Leonard's mom, when she met Penny, and she's like, "Oh, if you want to have intercourse with that girl, find out what cologne her father wore."
Yeah.
So it may not even matter, because I found this in a 2001 study in the Journal of Behavioral Ecology. They discovered that whether we know it or not, we send out a genetic signal to try to reel in a potential mate. According to the study, people tend to prefer fragrances that, for whatever reason, combine with their body chemistry in a way that complements their major histocompatibility complex, or an MHC. Your MHC involves the genes that make up your immunogenetic profile. People and animals generally pick mates with dissimilar MHCs to give their potential offspring more genetic diversity, and thus a strong immune system. So in a sense, it really doesn't matter what you choose. Your potential mate will like it or dislike it based off their own genetic code. So a lot to put into account.
I was going to mention too that part of the reason I have so many colognes is it all started off when I was back in undergrad. I think I was a freshman, and the store Zara had a winter cologne. It was like a special edition. Of course, I got it, loved it. I got it as a present, and they discontinued it because I guess it was limited edition. And so I've been striving for years to find something like it, and I find things like a little bit like it, and I just keep buying, hoping it's going to be like the next perfect one. And I've liked things a lot, but nothing's been like that one. And that one, I saw like this much left, and it's like 20 years old, and I still, it's nice. It's nice. So I didn't read the GQ article. I didn't just buy things for what it's worth to all you out there, but
Well, this goes into my cologne story that just happened very recently.
Uh-huh.
So back to what you were saying about like, well, back to everything that we were saying about how colognes kind of like it does something to like the person smelling it. They'll either like it or they don't like it or anything like
Yeah.
that. It'll kind of bring back a memory and everything like that. I decided to put on my original OG cologne before I met my wife. It's I was practically I already forgot what it was. It was Burberry.
Burberry.
I forgot which one it was, but it's like a light blue color.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to just change it up. One day I was just like, you know what, let's change it up. I sprayed that on. And like the moment my wife saw me, she was just kind of like, she kind of just paused and stopped because like a flood of memories just came back. And that's what she said. It was like, whoa, I feel like I'm back at our first home. And like where when we moved in together, like she had this flood of memories of when we were first dating, when we moved in, everything. I was like, holy crap.
Flashbacks.
And she was like, what going on? And I was
Why
like,
is
well,
this happening?
yeah. And I was like, oh, I decided to spray on the Burberry one. And she was like, oh my God. Like it was crazy. I didn't even tell her I was doing that, and I just did it.
It still hit her.
It just hit her like
wow.
So yeah, it's a real thing. Well, Leonard and Raj are ready to leave, but Howard needs to finish up an email. But it's not an email. He is commenting on Leslie's Facebook page. He's trying to clear the air to the internet world that he's the one that dumped her, even though that's not what happened. But there's no room for truth on the internet.
I like that line. There's no room for truth online.
Yeah. Well, Raj wants to make a plan if one of them hooks up, and Leonard is very condescending that if he gets lucky, he'll take her to his stately manor outside of Gotham City. And if Raj gets lucky, he'll sleep on the moon. Which is really fucked up because it's like, dude, Raj has the best track record out of everybody here.
Mm-hmm. And, he's shooting himself down, too. That's like, something might happen. You have no idea, and it's better to be prepared, or saying, at least admitting, like, okay, we'll figure it out then, but saying, it's not going to happen. That's just pessimism, and fuck you.
Yeah. Let's be positive.
Yeah.
Well, now we cut back over to Penny's apartment, and Penny is looking for the emergency key. But she realizes she forgot the keys in their apartment. And she explains, like, well, why was your key in our apartment? And she's like, well, I needed to borrow milk. And I just love Sheldon on this one. You're the milk thief. Leonard said I was crazy, but I knew that carton felt lighter.
I'm putting one point for being like Sheldon here. I say things like that quite often, saying this milk feels lighter, or like, why is my shampoo refilling itself? And people look at me, I'm like, I'm not crazy, something's going on here. And I feel like I notice things like that, and there's usually some reason behind it. Water's getting into the shampoo, so it seems like it's refilling because somebody came over and did drink my milk and didn't admit it.
Sorry, I just peed in your shampoo bottle.
Not that. Oh, that's why it smells so much better. It worked with my pH balance.
Does it smell like Chanel Blue?
Yes. Oh, memories. All right, so 1 point for Milk Thief.
Well, then Penny just says, I'll call the super, just have your dinner while we wait. And this is kind of what we talked about. It's like, no, I don't want to eat dinner here.
I had plans.
Like, magical plans. Well, now we cut back to the bar. They're back in Vegas, and Raj is having a blast. Video slots, drinks brought to them by bosomy barmaids. All you can eat shrimp for $3.95. Disneyland could suck it. And I will say, like, I always hear stories about the amazing buffets, how cheap they are, and I've never experienced a cheap buffet there.
They've never been cheap.
There is no $3.95 all you can eat shrimp.
Yeah,
that does not exist.
And having barmaids bring you drinks for free, it's been my experience. If I order one, I can plan on waiting an hour at least for it to get to me.
Well, that's why the key is that you're supposed to tip them really well right from the start. So as long as you're gambling, they'll come around and bring you drinks, and you don't have to like they're free drinks. You just gotta tip them like kick them like a 20 right from the start, and then they'll just keep coming back.
I swear I've done that, but it's still they get lost, they get chit-chatting with people, and maybe it wasn't a big enough 20. I
don't know. There's an extra large 20.
The good 20.
Yeah.
But it didn't. Yeah. But I actually did, slight IQ point on this. Afar.com asking what's the happiest place in the world. Again, because I don't like Vegas, I'm like, I don't believe that Vegas or Disney World are the happiest places in the land. Apparently, a 2023 happiness report says that Finland is the happiest place in the world for 6 years in a row. And apparently, respondents had a scale that they filled out from 0 to 10, and Finland had a 7.8. US in general was in spot 15. They didn't even make the top 10. So Vegas, Disney World, they can both suck it. Finland is
there's
where
nothing
it's
that
at.
Great about America.
Yeah.
Sorry, America. I was born and raised here. I can say that.
Yeah, I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah.
I'm part of the reason it's a 15.
Yeah.
So
littering everywhere, spitting on everything, hating immigrants. So I really don't, though. I'm sorry.
Apparently, the belief was that Finnish people are down to earth, relaxed, and close with nature, and these create a sense of worth and a sense of humanity, I guess, that made them feel more confident and happy with their lives and place of living. But I want to go to Finland sometime. I think it looks awesome. But I think there's a reason Vegas isn't
I've
there.
never considered Finland, but now that you've convinced me.
I want to steal their happiness. I want to go there and just like a vampire. So that's partial.
It gets knocked down to 20 after your visit there.
Wow. Yeah, I really brought them down a peg, didn't I?
I will say Disneyland is not the happiest place on earth.
No.
Like, it is a fucking nightmare, and I dread the day that Hunter is old enough that wants to go.
Just see if you can make it seem like Disney World doesn't actually exist. It's a fake place for as long as you can. People pretend there's a Santa Claus for 10 years of people's lives, so why not? No, Disney World, that's just a place in movies. It doesn't really exist.
Yeah. Anything else on Finland?
That's it.
All right. Well, a woman approaches Raj, and he just, I love that he's stares at her, sips his grasshopper, and then he flips around. Well, hello there. And we have a guest appearance, Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. And I remember her from Nash Bridges. I used to watch Nash Bridges all the time.
Wow.
Did you not?
I did not notice her from that. I don't know if I've ever watched Nash Bridges.
She was the daughter from Nash Bridges' daughter.
I recognize
her. And I remember Diaries. That
was mine.
Well, I remember it because it was a very weird time, in the real world, because she played the main character's daughter, and they dated in real life, which was kind of one of those weird things. She's half his age, and he plays her father. That's weird, but okay.
Good for them.
It's kind of like Dexter, how Dexter dated in real life the girl that played his sister.
Yeah.
It's that's cool. Granted, it's just a job, and it's cool. Whatever. They're just portraying. So, if you fell in love, great. But it's just kind of oh, that's nice.
Hi, Daddy.
Yeah. Oh no, Daddy. Well, she was also the antagonist in She's All That.
Yeah. When I looked her up, I remembered that as well.
Yeah. Great movie. I know it's a cliche of a storyline, but it was great.
It was such a fun cliche, right?
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr., Paul Walker,
Rachel E. Cook.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she's not around still. She was great in the 2000s.
Every now and then she pops up in something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh good.
And there was a sequel, and she was like the mom in the sequel, I think.
There was a She's All That too.
Yeah.
No
It
way.
was just like a year or two ago.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. It's a sequel, but I enjoyed it. It's just the original was.
Was Freddie Prinze Jr. in it too?
I don't think so. I don't think he guest starred.
Not interested. Less interested.
Never mind. Fuck that.
Yeah. I love Freddie Prinze Jr. because, it's Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And he was also the voice of Kanan in Rebels.
Oh.
The Star Wars animated.
Which I've signed back up for Disney, so I'm going to get through some of that Star Wars stuff now.
Oh, have you started Ahsoka?
Not yet.
Oh. Wait, did you watch Rebels?
Not yet. That's on the list too.
Okay, I will say. Okay.
Do some binging.
Sorry. You know what? I love Star Wars, so I'm going to deviate, and I'm not even going to apologize. I will say, as a pretty big Star Wars fan, I watched most of the content. I read a lot of the books and everything like that.
Yeah.
This is not for casual viewers. So if you didn't watch Rebels or know anything about Rebels, you're going to watch this and be like, what is going on? Who are these people? What is happening right now?
What is a Star War?
What's a star? There's a war and a star?
Huh?
What's that light thingy?
What's that light thingy that's shooting out of their hand?
So it's definitely as an avid Star Wars fan, I think this is the best content ever. But as a casual viewer, I can see you watching Ahsoka and being like, what?
What the fuck did I just watch?
Who? What's happening right now? But it's amazing. I love Ahsoka. Well, anyways. Raj is chatting up Michaela, and she wants to know if he wants to party. Raj, so innocent and naive, was like, I love to party. Party's my middle name. If it wasn't, and I didn't write down his middle name.
I forgot to write that down too.
But she couldn't pronounce it either. So, and Leonard pulls him aside to let him know that, dude, that's a hooker.
That's a hooker.
Yeah. And I noticed that they kept interchanging the terms hooker and prostitute. So I did a small IQ point on the differences in terminology. So I found this on orentcriminallaw.com and opensocietyfoundations.org. A prostitute is pretty much a hooker, or prostitute and hooker technically are interchangeable. A hooker is slang for prostitutes. They are hired for a sexual act with either money or other valuable consideration, usually very short term. This term has connotations of criminality and immorality. And then on another terminology, there's escort. Granted, they didn't use that in the episode, but it gets kind of thrown out here and there. An escort spends time with a person in exchange for money. In most cases, the escort accompanies a client to a social function, usually under contract for longer periods of time, several days or weeks. And we noticed that Howard had an escort in a previous episode, season 1, episode 4, The Luminous Fish Effect.
Yeah. And
now there is actually a new term in society right now. It's called sex worker, which means an adult who receives money or goods in exchange for consensual sexual services or erotic performances, either regularly or occasionally. This is a term reserved for the consensual, not from those being exploited. So that's where it kind of gets a little murky on whether or not it actually is truly consensual.
And human trafficking issues. Which is
those aren't sex workers.
Our argument on why it should, prostitution should be legalized is to help cut down on human trafficking, because if it's legalized, then the consensual nature can be monitored a little bit more efficiently and enforced. And
honestly, I feel the exact same way with all drugs. I studied this very long and in depth. I was actually on the road to become a lawyer or go into law school. I focused on criminology for like a good portion of my life, and I am a firm believer that like most, if not all, drugs or illegal activities should be decriminalized, because the best thing about making something legal is that you can tax it.
Yeah.
And not only can you tax it, you monitor it.
Yeah.
So like all these like criminal activities would be heavily monitored and restricted. So then there would be like regular checkups. All that money that the taxes could be, that it could be taxed for, could go into like rehabilitation.
That reminds me, I read a book, and it was fiction, but it brought up a good point about Ouija boards and the argument that if Ouija boards are real and they actually do summon spirits or dangerous demons and monsters, then people would probably have legitimate claims to sue Parker Brothers, who manufactures it. And the fact that there are no suitable lawsuits and the government has not monitored any is the biggest argument that they are just cheap pieces of plastic. I'm like, that's a really good indication that if there was anything that could possibly cause a lawsuit, there would have been one by now. Your game gave me demons. That's
there's a demon in my closet right now.
Yeah,
Parker, I'm suing you.
Give me $5 million to get this guy out of my house.
The Ghostbusters are expensive.
They're pricey.
And they brought their own ghost, this green floaty thing. What the fuck? You're supposed to get rid of them.
He wasn't helping at all. He was just sliding shit. So yeah, I'm understanding that legalizing it and having the monetization is very beneficial to keeping things in check, as opposed to just saying, we're going to say it's illegal and the black market's going to handle it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where most crime happens to other criminals. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that people don't realize, is because things aren't being monitored, they get victimized and exploited.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, they're too afraid to like report it.
Yeah, outside the law, you can't really report to the law. You got screwed over outside the law.
Yeah. So that's why if there is like a prostitute out there that's being like brutalized by like their clients or even their pimp or everything, they can't report it because it's like, well, I'm going to get arrested for being a prostitute.
Yep. And then people are going to victim blame too. Like, well, you were doing something illegal, so you had it coming. And it's like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. All right. Moving on. All right. Well, Raj tells her best of luck in her future endeavors, and she decides to leave. And then Leonard notices Howard's Twitter feed, which he calls his latest Twitters, which I know is a new thing out there, but to call it a Twitter, his Twitter is saying this. And I'm wondering, what is it called now that they changed their name to X? Is it their X's?
I don't know.
I just posted an X. What are the kids saying nowadays?
I just triple X'd.
It means I posted 3 times in a row. Yeah. Get your head out of the gutter.
I posted porn, but
3 times it's triple X'd.
Triple X cubed.
Yeah. With a splash of Vin Diesel in there.
Yeah.
Well, his tweet was, "I'm at the bottom of a black hole staring into the abyss. My life is meaningless. My future is without hope." Wow, Leslie had a hold on him. Holy shit.
He's a little bit of a drama queen, so he's pushing it, but
he's starved for attention.
Yeah.
And Raj suggests Blue Man Group. USA Today calls them exuberant fun for the whole family. But you know what? Howard really is not the family fun type. And Raj kind of thinks outside the box and is like, well, too bad he wasn't here for that hooker. And Leonard tries to reason with him. Dude, we're not getting a hooker. And then the next tweet comes in and Howard says, "I'm so lonely and horny. I may open this $20 jar of peanuts and end it all." Wow, drama queen much?
Exactly. I'm just going to end it all.
And now they're like, let's get a quote.
I did a quick IQ on this too about prices of hotel room snacks. So not too much on this, but according to dailymail.co.uk, They said one of the most expensive snacks is from Peninsula Beverly Hills Hotel in the U.S., where you can get 10 pieces of chocolate from the mini fridge for $80. That seemed pricey, but one of the other issues that was also very pricey is, according to several different websites, but on Daily Mail, they quoted travel blogger Carrie Anderson, suggesting that, in big part of being Vegas hotels, I think do this, that they can charge up or do charge up to $50 restocking fee for if you store anything in their mini bar. So if you have a beer that you want to keep cold and put it in their mini bar, and they catch you doing that, and they apparently can, they can charge you $50 just for storing your beer there. Some
Well, is
people,
that like if you leave it there,
if
or is it like as they're cleaning the room, they notice it there?
I think
Charge.
I think it's when they see it cleaning, but I've also heard that there are pressure sensors in the mini fridge that can cause problems, or that if you trigger one, it's like the immediate recharge restocking fee. Um, but some people said that you can actually get spare fridges brought up from room service to store your beers if that's what you want to do. So
That's stupid.
that's really stupid.
This is where the Karen and me would just go around and just give them a 1-star review.
I'm 1 star. I have your mini
One
fridge
star.
right
Yeah, I got charged $50 for a restocking fee.
here.
1 star.
And I found that peanuts online from different menus I was looking at range from about $7 to $15. I didn't see any that were $20, but I wouldn't say it's out of the ballpark. But typically 7 to 15. But that $50 restocking fee seemed really fucked up to me.
That's
So
wow.
Yeah.
Another reason why Vegas is not the happiest place.
It's not very, unless you have a lot of $50 bills on hand. I don't know. I don't.
I definitely do not. All right. We cut to Penny's apartment, and Sheldon is trying to make small talk. Just like, this is what you do when you have dinner. How was your day?
How was your day?
And I couldn't help but notice the differences in their meals. Sheldon has this nice Indian takeout and everything. And did you look at what Penny was eating for dinner?
No, I
It looked
didn't.
it looked like a yogurt bowl. I was like, damn, Penny, that's what you're having for dinner? It had like the multiple compartments for like one for like the yogurt and one for the granola.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh, that's totally a granola bowl. Or not,
Oh.
a yogurt bowl.
Oh.
It's like so sad.
And he has like this big feast
And not sharing it at all. Well, she starts to tell him about her schedule at the Cheesecake Factory, and he just shuts her down. That doesn't interest me at all. Just eat.
I almost gave myself a point for this. I didn't, because I don't think I've ever actually said it, but there were times where people start talking and I've immediately regretted asking. And my thought, I heard somebody say this one time when I was younger. They say, this is taking too long. And they turned around and walked away. And I'm like, I could do that sometime. Like, they talk. And so in my brain, I'm like, this is taking too long. And I have to fight the urge. So I've never actually done it. But I can see where he's coming from, saying, this doesn't interest me.
I've learned to just tell people I have a work call.
I've got a work call.
Oh shit! Sorry, I got a work call.
Sorry.
I got to prepare.
I gotta take a dump.
Well, on the whole food and conversation thing, I will say that my wife and I have this rule. Every time we have a meal together, the first 10 minutes of a meal need to be in silence. Like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to enjoy my food. And if I have to talk and chew and put food in my mouth and tell you about my day, it's distracting. I'm not enjoying my food. Chewing and talking is rude. It's
Yeah.
like, so we kind of have this mutual understanding, like, doesn't matter what the meal is, when we sit down at the dinner table, first 10 minutes is silence. We want the first few bites at least to just like, let me just enjoy my meal. Let me just like absorb the flavors and everything.
I was gonna say, now that you mention it, it's a pretty unspoken rule with my family that when the food comes, there's a good like 10 minutes there where you just eat, and you have to have a good reason to talk, because if you just start talking when somebody's like biting in, it's like everybody looks at you like, the fuck, you just broke the rule. But it's like an unspoken rule, but you're
Yeah.
right on with that.
Yeah. Like,
Dude.
that's totally fine. Just establish the rules. And I remember I read this Reddit feed where there was this family that had that unspoken rule. And when the son brought over his girlfriend to meet the parents for dinner, they did not explain the rule to her. So she was trying to be polite and like talking and everything, like, oh, how was your day? And like, oh, this is so good. How did you make this? They kept like giving her dirty looks, like, why are you talking? Like, and then they would kind of say something cryptic about like silence and eating and everything like that, and then she like, it just didn't click into her. So I was like, okay, that was weird.
Silence is golden.
But basically the end of the story was that the family actually banished her to a different room, which is like, what the fuck? They're basically like, hey, you need to eat in the other room. And she was like, this is really weird, and I don't know what to do, because she was like young, just meeting the parents, so she just picked up her meal and left. And then the boyfriend had the audacity to like get mad at her when he didn't explain the rules. It's like, dude, explain the rules.
If it's a new person, you deal with it and let them get comfortable, and then let them realize, because you can't expect them to know right off the bat, and blaming them or being that, yeah, that's I hope she didn't give him another date.
I did not get the follow-up because it was just a Reddit feed, but I was like, dude, you dump that fucker.
It's like, we're married now, and he talks during every fucking meal.
And I kicked him out. But I was like, dude, it's like that frustrated me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just explain the rule. Like, we had a conversation about it. Like, she actually had to look at me and be like, so I need to enjoy my meal. I don't want to talk to you right now. And I was like, cool. I like you direct. Be direct more often.
I like it.
Yeah.
The pheromones.
Oh my. When you're direct, the pheromones are blasting.
Woo.
Is that a musk I smell?
Your directness is very musky.
With the middle note of lavender. Well, now we're back at the bar, and Leonard and Raj approach Michaela, and they ask if she's really a prostitute. And then she kind of is like, you cops? And they're like, no. And she's like, okay, I'm a prostitute. And this leads into an IQ point. Ooh. What is the real rule about asking if someone's a cop?
Oh, this is a good one. I'm curious.
Because I feel like there's a huge misconception. I feel like the media has painted a very inaccurate portrayal of what cops are supposed to say and what they're not supposed to say. I feel like the media has painted this picture of like, if you just ask a cop if they're a cop, they're just supposed to admit it. But that's not that I am endorsing deviant behavior. I am just endorsing that people should know the laws.
Yeah.
So I found this on freeadvice.com, and this was updated as of July of 2023. So a police officer does not have to tell you that he or she is a cop if you ask. You may think that a cop not telling you that they are a police officer is entrapment, but it's not. Dishonest is not entrapment. Entrapment means that the police persuaded you to commit a crime you had no intention of committing on the outset. And following up on bradbaileylaw.com, if an officer is in plain clothes, they only have to identify themselves when using their police powers. Other than that, they are not required to identify themselves and are allowed to lie about their identities. So if in the event that Leonard and Raj were cops and they were off duty, they can totally lie. Like, if a woman approached them and they're like, hey, are you a prostitute? And they said, well, are you a cop? They're technically off duty and they're not on a sting or anything like that. They're just living their personal life. They can literally just say no, and then that's fine. And then she's like, yeah, I'm a prostitute. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I hate to break this to you, but I am a cop.
And you're under arrest. Oh.
Yeah, so that could happen. So so cops don't have, like, that's where it's like, I've seen this on multiple movies and TV shows where they're like, where the character's like, are you a cop? Hey, you have to tell me if you're a cop. That's the law. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So know your laws.
I bet the cops were just hoping for the media to confuse people.
Yeah, it helps them out.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not trying to endorse like criminal behavior. I just think that I think that a lot of people that don't know the law can easily be exploited.
Yeah, I
So
agree with that.
yeah, so just know your laws. Don't be a dick about it. Just live a good life.
Rob, are you a cop?
No.
Are you a cop?
No. Okay, I'm a cop.
Oh, I'm a prostitute. Oh no.
Well, how much? 2 beers and some Ritz crackers.
It depends on those pheromones, baby.
Well, now the guys make arrangements with Michaela for Howard, and they want the Jewish girlfriend experience.
Like, oh, you want the Jewish girlfriend? You want the girlfriend experience?
If we can, the Jewish girlfriend. Well, now we're back at Penny's, and I love this. They're playing 20 questions. And of course, Sheldon is Spock. And she's like, are you Star Wars?
How can one person be a whole movie? Are you Star Wars?
Well, great callback to the beginning when they were playing 20 questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decides to ask Penny about friends with benefits. If Leonard and her are friends with benefits. Because who knows what happens when he fakes picking up her mail or losing her mail.
I made that a what the fuck moment, because how does he fake that? Like, he would have to go into her mailbox and still mail. Like, how could he fake that?
I'm sure he finds a way on a package or something like that. I'm like, it's a little stalkery, but you know.
She doesn't seem to mind either. She's like, that happens.
Yeah, he's harmless. It's fine.
That's just mail. No benefits.
Well, in his attempt to understand the topic better, he dives deeper with Penny, asking if she's capable of having this type of relationship, which obviously makes her uncomfortable. He doesn't get it, and then she just has to be direct and just yells at him, I'm uncomfortable, Sheldon. And Sheldon's like, oh, thanks. That's very helpful.
I was going to do 2 things. One, I'm giving myself a point for being like Sheldon, because I've actually had people yell at me, I am uncomfortable.
Ryan, you make me uncomfortable all the time, but I just deal with it.
That's because I forced you into a podcast, Rob.
And I'm getting your pheromones through the screen.
Yeah.
And it does not vibe with me.
It doesn't vibe at all. But I also did an IQ point, or a partial one, whatever. I'm going to say IQ point.
Let's go. We don't do partials anymore.
Yeah, screw partials. Penny mentions that some people just can't handle that kind of relationship. And I was curious if people can or can't. And according to smartcouples.ifas.ufl.edu, so University of Florida, suggests that, or it's hard to know if people admit to having this kind of relationship or are okay with it, but they found information that suggests that at least half of college students report having one of these relationships at some point in their life. And so a good number of people do it. More men report it than women. So either women aren't telling the truth, or men assume the relationship is a friends with benefits, while women aren't assuming that necessarily. But what was interesting was that surveys report most friendships do survive this type of relationship. That the only reason that they don't survive, or the reasons they don't survive, is because someone is being deceptive. Like I said, that where if one person is saying, oh, this is a real relationship, but thinking on the other side, now this is just a friends with benefits thing, that could hurt the friendship long run. Or if, what was that? Entrapment. Were they caught?
Liars.
But also, if the relationship was only about sex in the first place, that there was no actual friendship, it could fall apart. And experts say that if this is what you want, just use clear communication. Be cautious, and look for consent or give consent. Uh, Consent's very important, but also be wary of emotions and safety, pregnancy and infections and stuff. But again, that communication is really key, and that apparently most friendships can survive it. So I thought that was much higher than I was thinking, that half of college students would report as saying they've done this and that their relationship survived. So a little bit
I wonder if
interesting.
there's like a 10-year follow-up if they're still friends.
That would be. I wonder.
Because I wonder like when they actually like filled out that survey and like the duration of time in between. Like they may be friends now, but like once you actually get into a relationship, like a real relationship, I
Can you
mean,
maintain that friendship?
yeah.
Interesting.
It might be kind of weird. You might have the conversation with exes and everything like that. The significant other may not be comfortable with like, dude, you're hanging with your ex.
Where it's like,
But that's kind of like that's basically an ex.
I thought we were friends, but we haven't talked in 10 years, so are we really
Yeah.
friends? Type thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're totally fine.
Well, we're
Haven't talked to
great.
them in 10 years, but we're fine. I followed them on Instagram.
They died 8 years ago. Really? Oh shit!
Oh my.
I guess we're not that good of friends. All right, so that was IQ point, and that was 1 point for Sheldon.
Good to know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, now we're back at the Vegas bar, and Raj and Leonard lure Howard out with the promise of shrimp the size of a baby's arm. Obviously, they're not the size of a baby's arm. He tries to bounce and insert Michaela disguised as Esther Rosenblatt, being very stereotypical Jewish, asking for a brisket and changing her voice.
When it killed him to put a brisket out, put out a nice brisket. It made me so much happier that we made a brisket together and can speak about brisket now together.
Yeah, check if you haven't checked it out, check out that brisket video. It's follow our show notes. It should be the top hit on our website. And now we're back at Penny's, and it looks like the manager isn't coming, so Sheldon will have to spend the night. Sheldon does not like this because he's too tall, and he recites the tall man from Cornwall. A very quick IQ point, not real.
That's what I looked into that too, and it's fictional
Yep.
from the show. Apparently, there's a lot of rhymes about Cornwall and the area, but this was not a real one.
No.
Interesting.
And now, moving on.
Yeah.
Well, Penny breaks down and just lets Sheldon use her bed. Well, now we're back at the bar, and Howard is hitting it off with Esther. She gets very stereotypical Jewish again. Oh, I'm going to devour a cheeseburger. Boy, kavai. And Howard decides to approach the guys, and he's like, dude, she's a hooker, isn't she? And like, yeah. Well, did you already pay her? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So I love that he's able to see through the stereotypical stuff and know that she's a hooker, but he's okay with it,
yeah,
that's life.
it's Howard
with it.
Yeah.
And I think
whatever.
That's very good
It's consensual. It's all good.
They help.
Well, now we're back at Penny's, and Sheldon can't sleep because he's homesick. And I'm totally a Sheldon this episode because I would feel the exact same way. Because no matter how far away, even though if your home is like 20 feet away, if you're in a new environment, you're not comfortable.
Yeah. I don't know if I get homesick, but like I get this feeling like I never really went to bed if I slept somewhere else, like on a friend's couch or something. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh, well, I guess the day's just continuing. Like I don't have that rhythm or whatever. But
well, he wants her to sing Soft Kitty because homesick is a type of sick. which is a setup for a future episode.
Huh.
It's a joke that will set up another one in the future, and I love that.
I look forward to
Well, now she starts singing, and she forgets a verse, and Sheldon makes her start over.
it.
And then he genuinely thanks her for staying there
That was
and like
sweet.
helping him out. It was actually very sweet. Like, as difficult as he is and as unappreciative as he seems during the ride, at the very end he is very self-reflective, and he's like, he knows like that she's doing him a big favor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kicks her out because he's sleeping.
Okay, get out. All right, get out. And that goes back to the never mind, this is boring, right?
Yeah.
It's very
just very direct.
Yeah, never mind.
Well, now we're at the ending scene, and Leonard returns home. And I'm wondering, it's like, he must have left really early if they only stayed in Vegas one night.
Yeah, and what didn't we do an IQ point on this? How far away Vegas was from them?
It's a 4-hour drive.
It's 4-hour
or a
drive.
1-hour flight.
Yeah, so, and I'm guessing they're driving, especially with all that cologne Howard brought.
Yeah, with everything that they brought, it's like they wouldn't have flown.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Like, getting a flight that last minute when they're trying to be spontaneous, they probably packed a bag, hopped into a car, and drove. So it was a little. I know it's for the joke to make sense. They had to make him come home, but it didn't make sense at the same time because Sheldon would have woken up early, which means that the guys would have had to like drive back at like 3 a.m.
Maybe, well, Howard was with them. I was going to say maybe they just jump ship and let Howard have the bedroom.
So he has to fly home on
himself. I was going to say, how would he go? I mean, they didn't have a backup plan if one scored, so, but...
Yeah.
Man,
well, if Howard did hook up with a hooker, it would only take like an hour, and then he reconnected with them.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Huh.
Sorry, the Hunter's like having some fun upstairs. If you can hear that. That's not a ghost of a baby you're hearing. That's actually my baby. He's having
happens to be a ghost.
Yeah. I can hear him up there. He's living his best life right now with Mom. Well, Sheldon returns from Penny's and tells Leonard that he has a much better understanding of friends with benefits. And I just love that because it's a kind of another callback to like past episodes where somebody leaves Penny and all of a sudden, and not understanding what's going on, Leonard's like, what just happened?
That's a great, what do they call it? Dramatic irony, where the audience knows and one character is confused, but we see the overall picture, and it's Frasier plays a big part of that, where the audience knows what's going on. Like one character only sees part of what's going on, and it works. I think it's hilarious, and I thought this was a great joke to end the episode with.
And speaking of Frasier, I'm winding down on the tail end of Frasier. Finally, I'm at the tail end of season 11.
Ooh, I'm so curious.
I look forward to like the new series coming out.
Me too.
Yeah, we'll have to make that our bonus episode.
Which by the way, in the commercial, there's a scene where his son and his son's girlfriend are talking about Frasier, his dad, and she mentions he smells really cool, and his son goes, he does smell cool, and I'm like, that's why I love Frasier. He smells cool. Those pheromones.
Yeah. Oh, he would. Yeah.
Right. He would.
God. Even to this day, I've talked about it. Like his lifestyle is like so classic. It is timeless.
Mm-hmm.
Even like his apartment is so timeless.
Yeah.
Like we're in 2023 right now, and that aired in like 93, 94. And it was like, dude, your apartment still holds up. Like your lifestyle, your style, like having a cocktail like before you go out and everything like that, going to the theater and going to like the coffee shop and everything like that. It's like, dude, this is like such a time. It's timeless, but there are moments where it's very dated.
There's some dated to it.
Yeah. But that's the episode.
That's it.
We did it. What were your thoughts?
I loved this episode. It made me laugh a lot. I thought the setup was great. It was one where they left the apartment and went to Vegas, so it was kind of a travel episode. I love those. I thought the ending between Howard and Leslie was funny. Her phone call and abruptness, the bring in of the prostitute, and Howard's catching on but being okay with it, and then Penny and Sheldon having some close time together, and the ending. I thought it was all very great. Loved it.
I agree with everything that you just said. I love that they were on location, that they traveled somewhere else. I love the whole, like, more or less fish out of water situations. Sheldon being at Penny's place, being uncomfortable. The guys trying to live that normal lifestyle of, like, being like everybody else and, like, being spontaneous and going to Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
And I like the continuity that, like, even though Leslie wasn't there, they incorporated her into the story because there was a continuity of them being friends with benefits.
Yeah. And her character was still there. Mama's got a role, right?
Very, very Leslie. Very true to her character. Great episode. I really like this one. Any last minute? Oh, sorry.
My points. I am cranked up to 66 being not like Sheldon and 69 being like Sheldon. So we've taken a turn. I was not like Sheldon for quite a while, and he's cranked up. He's got a few points there.
7 IQ points. Yeah, you found a lot of stuff that I didn't find, and I found some stuff that you didn't find. So it's kind of nice. Like, I think I only started off with like 3 IQ points. I was like, wow, not a lot going on in this episode. But yeah,
I was gonna say that cop IQ point you came up with, that could save lives. Are you a cop?
Really, yeah, it's like, just any doubt, just don't do the deviant act.
Yeah,
just don't
you
do
probably
it.
Shouldn't be asking in the first place. But
yeah, if you have to ask, don't do it.
I don't like the idea of people being manipulated by false news, false information. So that's where.
Fun episode. Had a good time. Great. Yeah, just great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Any last minute thoughts?
Nope, I think that's all for me.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to leave us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and you could be entered in to win a $100 gift card to Amazon. And if you're international and we don't see your review, shoot us a message. Shoot us that screenshot that you actually did it.
We'll figure it out.
Because we don't have VPN access.
Yet. And we won't admit to it unless you're not a cop.
Are you a cop?
Are you a cop?
We'll see you next time when we talk about Season 2, Episode 22, The Classified Materials Turbulence. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory Watch Along podcast. No PhD required. Our intro and outro music is by Alex Grohl. Thanks for listening. Are you a cop?
Are you a cop?